Why does it feel like everyone else finds love, except you? You see the announcements, the engagement photos, the weddings, two people smiling, promising forever. And somewhere deep inside you, a quiet question starts to grow. God, what about me? You've prayed about it, you've waited, you've tried to stay patient. But if you're honest, some nights the silence feels heavy. You wonder if maybe you missed your moment. Maybe the right person already came and went. Maybe everyone else is being chosen while you're still standing in the background. And that thought hurts more than most people realize. Because it doesn't just touch your desire for love, it touches your identity. It whispers something dangerous. What if I'm not meant to be loved? But listen carefully. What you're experiencing right now is not abandonment, and it's definitely not punishment. There's a reason God sometimes allows a season of singleness that lasts longer than we expected. Not to deny you love, but to protect something in you that the wrong relationship would quietly destroy. Because the truth is, most people aren't ruined by being alone. They're ruined by choosing the wrong person just to escape loneliness. And God knows that. He sees the things you can't see yet, the hidden patterns, the wrong motives, the quiet compromises that slowly pull people away from the life they were meant to live. So sometimes God keeps you single, not because you're unworthy of love, but because your future is too important to attach to the wrong person. Think about it for a moment. Every relationship shapes you. The person you spend the most time with influences the way you think, the way you see yourself, even the way you see God. A healthy relationship can strengthen your purpose, but the wrong one, it can slowly bury it. You've probably seen it happen. Someone who once had passion, direction, faith, slowly becoming smaller inside a relationship that drains them. Dreams get postponed, convictions soften, and eventually they become a quieter version of who they once were. That's not love. That's erosion. And God refuses to let your life be built on something that fragile. Sometimes the reason a relationship ended wasn't because you failed. It's because God could see the direction it was heading, things you couldn't see yet, conversations that would have turned into conflict, values that would have slowly clashed, a future that looked good on the surface but would have left your spirit empty. You saw potential. God saw the full story. So the door closed, and at the time it felt like loss. But years from now, many people look back at the relationship that didn't work and quietly thank God for the unanswered prayer. Because distance creates clarity, and time reveals what emotions once hid. But protection isn't the only reason God sometimes allows a long season of singleness. There's another reason people rarely talk about. Growth. Real growth rarely happens when life feels comfortable. It happens in the quiet seasons, the seasons where you're forced to face yourself, your fears, your insecurities, your habits. When you're always surrounded by attention or validation, it's easy to avoid those deeper parts of yourself. But when life slows down, when the noise fades, you start hearing your own heart more clearly. And that's where transformation begins. You learn things about yourself that relationships once covered up. Maybe you discover you relied too much on approval. Maybe you notice how easily you ignored red flags just to keep someone around. Maybe you finally see patterns you repeated without realizing it. That kind of self-awareness is powerful because the healthiest relationships aren't built by two people looking for someone to complete them. They're built by two people who already know who they are. People who don't need a relationship to feel whole. People who bring peace into each other's lives instead of pressure. And sometimes God allows a season of singleness because He's strengthening your foundation before He builds something permanent on it. Think of it like building a house. Everyone admires the finished structure, the walls, the design, the beauty. But the most important part is the foundation. And foundations are built slowly, carefully. No one celebrates that stage.
In fact, from the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. Just dirt, concrete, waiting. But that hidden stage determines whether the house will stand for decades or collapse during the first serious storm. Relationships work the same way. Many couples rush into love without the emotional or spiritual maturity to sustain it. Everything feels exciting in the beginning, But when real life arrives, pressure exposes the cracks, communication breaks down, trust weakens, and what once felt perfect suddenly becomes exhausting. God isn't interested in giving you a relationship that only survives good days. He's preparing something that can survive real life, conflict, stress, uncertainty. That kind of partnership requires two people who are grounded, two people who know how to handle disappointment without tearing each other down, two people who don't run at the first sign of difficulty. That kind of maturity takes time, and time often looks like singleness. There's another part of this that many people overlook. Every life carries a direction, something meaningful that only you can bring into the world. But the person you choose to walk beside you will either support that purpose or compete with it. Not everyone is meant to travel the same path. Some people admire your gifts until those gifts start demanding sacrifices they aren't willing to make. Some people celebrate your passion until it requires patience, discipline, or faith. And that's where many relationships quietly fall apart. Not because two people didn't care about each other, but because their lives were moving in different directions. God sees that long before we do. So sometimes He slows the process down. He keeps certain doors closed. Not forever, just long enough for the right alignment to happen. Because the right partner won't just love you, they'll understand the direction your life is meant to go. They won't feel threatened by your purpose. They'll protect it, encourage it, stand beside you when the journey becomes difficult. That kind of partnership isn't common, and it's worth waiting for. But waiting can feel frustrating.
Especially when the world around you keeps moving. Friends get married, families start asking questions. Social media fills your screen with other people's milestones. It can make you feel like life is passing you by, but life isn't a race. And comparison has ruined more joy than loneliness ever could. Everyone's timeline looks different because everyone's story is different. Some people meet the right person early. Others meet them later, after life has shaped them into someone ready for that kind of connection. Neither path is wrong. What matters is the kind of love you eventually build, because a relationship formed from desperation rarely lasts. But a relationship formed from clarity, patience, and purpose has a completely different strength. So if you're in a season of singleness right now, don't treat it like an empty waiting room. Treat it like preparation. Invest in your growth. Strengthen your faith. Build the life you would want to share with someone someday. Because when love finally arrives, it shouldn't feel like a rescue. It should feel like a partnership. Two people who already have direction, choosing to walk forward together. And one day, when the timing is right, you may look back at this season differently. The loneliness, the questions, the silence. You may realize it wasn't wasted time at all. It was the season where you became the person capable of building the kind of love that lasts. So if you've been wondering why God is keeping you single, maybe the real question isn't why hasn't it happened yet? Maybe the real question is, what is God preparing in me right now? Because the right relationship doesn't just appear, it arrives when two lives are finally ready to meet at the same moment. And when that moment comes, all the waiting will start to make sense.